Hello everyone, welcome to Exam Decoder. We are continuing with our PT365 module of VISIONIAS. This is environmental science module. We have already seen the two parts. In the part 1, we have discussed wildlife and conservation of biodiversity. In biodiversity, actually we have to see the 4 parts, and the second part we have already discussed about the forest. In the third part, we will discuss wetland, coastland and oceans. In this, high sea treaty, coral bleaching, Ramsar sites, other wetlands in news, other related news and terms in news. These all topics we are going to discuss in this current topic. Let's start with 1.3, wetlands, coastland and oceans. The first news here is high sea treaty. Why it is in news? Union Cabinet approves the signing of Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, that is BBNJ agreement of high sea treaty. Actually BBNJ is important. We will see in detail. What are high seas? As per UN Convention on Law of Seas, that is UN clause demarcation, high seas are all parts of the seas that are not included in exclusive economic zone, in the terrestrial sea or in the internal water of a state, or in archipelagic water or archipelagic state. Let's see, UN clause demarcates different zones of the ocean as first is territorial sea up to 12 nautical miles from baseline. Second is about contiguous zone up to 12 nautical miles from baseline and acts as a buffer zone. The country is having the limited sovereignty over this area. Next is third is the exclusive economic zone up to 200 nautical miles from baseline. No sovereignty of the coastal state. What is global common here? Global common is the area actually shared by all of the humanity and is not owned by any single country. It simply means for any country there is no national jurisdiction there. Okay, it means it requires international cooperation for the management and preservation of that area. Actually, there are some areas which comes in the global common are like high sea area, which is we will study this high sea area. Next is outer space is also there. That's why outer space treaty is there. Antarctica also comes in the global common. So these are like global common area which are used by the humanity and not comes under the jurisdiction of any single country. Here 3 terms like territorial sea, contiguous zone and exclusive economic zones are mentioned. Let's first see in detail what these 3 zones are there. After that we will go ahead. These 3 zones comes under the maritime zones, which is defined by the UN clause, that is United Nations Convention on the Law of Seas. Okay, in this first is given as territorial sea. What is territorial sea? Which is up to the 12 nautical miles. This is written M. This is actually nautical mile, which is represented by M. So what is this 12 nautical miles? The area which is extending from the country's baseline. This is actually dotted portion as shown. The baseline. What is this baseline? Baseline is actually low water mark area. Water mark area. The coastal states actually enjoys the full sovereignty over these zones. This is like similar to the territory of the country. Next is contiguous zone. Contiguous zone is 12 nautical mile to 24 nautical mile. Okay, here given 12 to 24 nautical mile is the contiguous zone. The coastal state does not have full sovereignty over the contiguous zone, but it can enforce laws which is related to like customs law. It can look into the security issues of that area. This is security, immigration, okay, immigration and sanitation in that area. Okay, sanitation in that area. In contiguous zone, the country have limited authority over this area. Next is exclusive economic zone. This is up to the 200 nautical miles. Actually, the coastal states has exclusive rights to explore, exploit, conserve and manage the natural resources in this area. Like it can do the fishing work, it can explore the oil or the natural gas resources from this area. However, other countries can pass through and lay the submarine cables but cannot exploit the resources without the permission of the coastal country. Actually, you have seen in movies like some criminals try to escape from the Indian maritime boundary. Till what distance they have to escape? They have to escape till the contiguous zone. Till this point, India is having the right to enforce laws. Now coming to the high seas, what is high seas? Beyond this exclusive economic zone is the high sea area, where no single country having its jurisdiction. So it comes under the global common. Now coming back to the topic. Now coming to the global common, it is written here high sea, that is approximately the 64% area, or you can say approximately the 2/3 area. 2/3 area, that is approximately 66%, that is equal, are considered as global common, that belongs to no one or everyone, and everyone enjoys the equal rights there. Next is about the BBNJ agreement. BBNJ agreement is also called High Sea Treaty. We have seen it earlier also. This is High Sea Treaty. We are looking into the same topic. See, this is the High Sea Treaty, that is BBNJ, that is Biodiversity Beyond Natural Jurisdiction. Okay. So the agreement on conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond natural jurisdiction. What is natural jurisdiction here? Means which is coming after the exclusive economic zone. Actually, we have understood BBNJ, which is also known as High Sea Treaty. It comes under the UN clause, which is an international agreement. It is having the aim to protect and sustainably use the marine biodiversity in the areas beyond the national jurisdiction. National jurisdiction means the area which comes outside the exclusive economic zone that we have discussed. This is approximately the 2/3 areas which comes outside the exclusive economic zone, and this is called the BBNJ, that is Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. It actually includes high seas and deep sea seabeds. One more important point here, we have already discussed the objective and everything. One more important point is here is you need to remember Ministry of Earth Sciences will spearhead its implementation in India. It means MOFCC plays no role in this. This is Ministry of Earth Sciences. Let's look into the key provisions of BBNJ. Areas beyond national jurisdiction include high sea. Of course, we have discussed. Only part 2 applies to any government vessels or non-commercial services. Next is institutional arrangement. Treaty establish conference of parties, main decision making bodies, scientific and technical body, cleared house mechanism, subject matter committee, and financial mechanism. No need to remember all these things. Okay. There are 4 substantive elements of BBNJ treaty. First here is marine genetic resources, that is MGR, including the fair and equitable sharing of benefits. MGR, that is marine genetic resources mechanism, also consider the right and obligations associated with the traditional knowledge of indigenous people and the local community. No country must claim or exercise sovereignty of the MGR of ABNJ. What is ABNJ? We have already seen, that is areas beyond national jurisdiction. Second point here is measures such as area based management tools, that is ABMT, including maritime protected areas. ABMT, that is area based management tools, establishes well connected networks of marine protected areas. To date, largest international MPA is the Antarctica's Ross Sea. This is important. You should know that the largest international marine protected area is Antarctica's Ross Sea. Sometime UPSC also asks the location. Ross Sea is important, where it is in the Antarctica, which is the largest international marine protected area. Next is environmental impact assessment. It actually requires assessment before human activities can take place. Fourth is about capacity building and transfer of marine technology. This capacity building and transfer of marine technology helps the developing nation to access marine research and technology. So it is helping the developing countries in the access to marine research and technology. Next is UN clause. that is United Nations Convention on Law of Seas. This is a comprehensive international law for legitimate behavior on and use of seas and oceans everywhere. It is adopted in 1982 and enforced in 1994. Actually, discussion for laws of the seas started in 1958 itself. It started with the Conference on the Law of Sea, and finally it is adopted in 1982, but was not enforced till 1994. It was ratified by 60 countries by 1994, and then it came into the force. Currently, this is having the universal acceptance as 170 state parties including India has already ratified this. The provisions also defines the rights and duties of nations regarding the activities in oceans, addresses issues on the sovereignty and other different topics. It also establishes the International Seabed Authority. As you know, International Seabed Authority is responsible for regulating activities that is related to deep sea mining, and ensuring the protection of marine environment in the seabed beyond the natural jurisdiction. Let's see the question already asked in UPSC 2022. The first question here is with reference to United Nations Convention on Law of Sea, that is UN clause, consider the following statement. The first statement given here is a coastal state has the right to establish breadth of its territorial sea up to the limit not extending 12 nautical miles measured from the baseline determined in accordance with the convention. The second point here is ships of all states, whether coastal or landlocked, enjoys the right of the innocent passage through the territorial sea. Next is third point here is the exclusive economic zones shall not extend beyond 200 nautical miles from the baseline from which the breadth of the territorial sea is measured. What will be the answer? First option is 1 and 2, second is 2 and 3, third is 1 and 3, fourth is 1, 2, 3. What will the answer? Just think and write. Write in the comment box. Actually, see, first statement we have already discussed. This statement is correct. There is also protection for the landlocked state. If the state is landlocked, that actually enjoys the right of innocent passage through the territorial sea. This is correct statement. Okay, and third also we have seen, this is already we have seen that exclusive economic zone shall not extend beyond the 200 nautical miles from the baseline. Actually, multiple times we have used the term nautical miles. What is nautical miles? Nautical miles is equals to 1.852 kilometers. You should know this. Nautical miles is equals to 1.852 kilometers. Let's looking into the next topic, that is coral bleaching. Why it is in news? Recently, widespread coral bleaching has been seen along the Indian coast, largely affecting Lakshadweep, Gulf of Mannar, Park Bay, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Let's see more about the instances of bleaching. First is about the Lakshadweep Islands, made up of coral atoll, is at significant risk. What is atoll? Atoll here is the formation in the reef. The first is the fringing reef. Second is the barrier reef. And next is the atoll. Okay. Next is the formation of atoll. So here it is talking about the atoll is at significant risk. First is bleaching is seen across the almost all species like Acropora muricata and Porate cylindrica in the Kavarthi Island. Next is species that are often more stress tolerant, such as Poratis lutea and Pavona varians, have also begun to bleach in Lakshadweep. Next is about the Gulf of Mannar. The live coral covers the Gulf of Mannar decreased from 37% to 27.3% between 2005 and 2021. Means there is decrease in the coral cover of the Gulf of Mannar. Percentage and all these things are not very important. Goa coral bleaching has started but is limited to one species, that is Goniopora. You need to know the names, like Goniopora is related species of what, that is corals. This type of question can be asked. This question was from the exclusive economic zone, we have already discussed. Next, coming to the coral and coral bleaching. What are coral first? Corals are invertebrate animals belonging to large group of animals called Cnidaria, or it is also called Coelenterata. Coelenterata. Okay, this is when you will read the animal classification of Whitaker, in that the first group comes to the Porifera, next is Cnidaria or Coelenterata. So this comes in the Coelenterata or Cnidaria, this is the same thing. Coral generally classified as hard corals or soft corals. Coral reefs are formed by polyps of the hard coral which establish symbiotic relationship with the microscopic algae called zooxanthellae, which gives them their characteristic color. So what is responsible for the color of the coral? That is microscopic algae, that is called zooxanthellae. Next is growth conditions of the coral reef. Actually, coral reef develops in very limited environmental condition. First is warm temperature of 23 to 29 degrees C. Salty water should be 32 to 42. Clear, shallow marine water with the stable temperature and abundant light. Next is about the significance of reef, often called rainforest of the oceans. This is important word. What is the rainforest of ocean? That is corals, due to high biodiversity and productivity. This is having very high biodiversity and productivity. It supports around 25% of the marine life, minimizes storm impact, promote tourism, and acts as the carbon sink, etc. Next is about the coral bleaching. When the corals are stressed by changes in the conditions such as the temperature, light, or the nutrients, they expel the symbiotic algae, causing them to turn completely white. It means the algae zooxanthellae. It means the algae zooxanthellae is expelled from the coral, and that is actually called coral bleaching. Presently, 23-24 is being named as the 4th global mass coral bleaching event. This is 23-24 is being named as the 4th global mass coral bleaching event. What are the factors responsible? Increased ocean temperature due to climate change. Second is runoff and pollution, extreme low tides, ocean acidification, biological invasion, epizootics, that is pathogen induced bleaching, etc. Next is about the initiatives taken by the coral conservation in India. First is legal initiatives, acts like the coastal regulation zone. These are not important. Actually, coral topic is itself important, but what are the different initiatives is not very important, even though just look into this. Let's look into legal initiative. Acts like the Coastal Regulation Zone notification of 1991 issued under the Board Environmental Protection Act 1986. Coral species are listed under Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972. You should know this. Means what? Coral species are listed under the Schedule 1 of Indian Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Second point here is Coral Reef Recovery Project, Mithapur, Gulf of Kutch and Gujarat Marines National Park, launched in 2008 by Wildlife Trust of India and Gujarat Forest Department. Next year is Zoological Survey of India, with the Gujarat Forest Department successfully restored coral reefs in the Gulf of Kutch. In the Gulf of Kutch, they have done many initiatives like restoration of branching coral species, that is staghorn corals, that had gone extinct about 10,000 years ago to the Gulf of Kutch was successful. It means staghorn corals was again restored, which has already been extinct 10,000 years ago. It used the biorock technology. What is actually biorock? Biorock is substance formed by mineral acceleration or electrochemical acceleration on steel structure connected to the power source. How we will provide the power? from the floating solar panels. It means the basic structure is made up of steel, and it is powered by the solar panel so that electric current passes through the electrodes in water. What will happen? Calcium ions combines with the carbonate ion to form the calcium carbonate. What will form? That is calcium carbonate. And this electro accumulation, we can say this is what? Electro accumulation of calcium carbonate is termed as biorock. I hope you understood this biorock technology. Next is Global Initiative, International Coral Reef Initiative, founded in 1994 at the first conference of parties of the Convention of Biological Diversity, that is CBD. India is the member of ICRI, that is International Coral Reef Initiative. World Coral Conservatory Project, this is conservatory in nature. So what will they do? They will create a bank of coral in the aquariums across the Europe. Next is Coral Research and Development Accelerator Platform by G20. Next is other related news. Artificial reefs. 300 artificial reefs were deployed off the coast of Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu. About the artificial reef, these are the technology intervention used to rehabilitate or improve natural habitats. They are placed on the seabed with the fixed scientific design and functions as the self-sustaining production system. They mimic the characteristic of the natural reef. Material used like rocks, cinder block, wood, old tires, limestone, steel, concrete are used. It means they develop the artificial reef, nothing else. The Department of Fisheries is promoting it under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana for the rejuvenation of the coastal fisheries. Now moving to the next topic, that is Ramsar Sites. Now let's see the questions related to corals already asked in UPSC exam. Okay. First is UPSC 2018 question. The question here is, consider the following statement. The first statement, most of the world's coral reef are in the tropical water. Second is, more than 1/3 of the world's coral reef are located in the territories of Australia, Indonesia and Philippines. Third is, coral reef hosts a far more number of animal phyla than those hosted by the tropical rainforest. Try to answer this question in the comment box. Okay, let's see. The first here is, most of the world's coral reef are in the tropical water. This is correct because we have seen the condition for the coral. This can be estimated from the condition for the coral. What is the condition given here? This is the warm temperature, that is 23 to 29. It means the coral can be generated in the tropical water. This statement is correct. So 111, you can eliminate option B. Next is, more than 1/3 of the world's coral reef are located in the territories of Australia, Indonesia and Philippines. You must have heard about the Great Barrier Reef. It means this is also the correct statement. 1/3 of the world coral is in the Great Barrier Reef. So statement 2 is correct. So here 1 and 3 is given. So this is wrong. Now we have to decide about the 3. Third one is, the coral reef host far more number of animal phyla. Animal phyla means animal phylum than those hosted by the tropical rainforest. This statement is also correct. Actually, corals are the most diverse region. So the answer will be 1, 2 and 3. Next question is biorock technology. Biorock was actually the current affair of that time. You have seen in the Gulf of Kutch, they have restored the corals. Biorock technology is talked about which of the following? This is the restoration of the damaged coral reef. This statement is correct. One more question. Which of the following have the coral reefs? Andaman and Nicobar, correct one. Gulf of Kutch, just we have studied the biorock technology in the Gulf of Kutch. Gulf of Mannar, this is also correct. Sundarban is wrong. Okay. So what will be the answer? This is 1, 2 and 3. Next, looking into Ramsar sites, why it is in news recently, new wetlands from India were added to Ramsar list, taking the total number of sites to 85. This is old data. Actually, in Feb 2025, there are 4 more sites have been added, and currently there are number of sites is 89. Ramsar site is about the wetlands. What is first wetlands? Actually, wetlands are the ecosystem where water covers the soil for most or all of the year. We will see about wetlands, but first there are some sites added which is given here. First is Nagi and Nakti bird sanctuaries. This is in Bihar. It is not important to read all these specification. Next is Nanjarayan bird sanctuary. This is in Tamil Nadu. This is named after the king Nanjarayan. Next is Kaju Valley Bird Sanctuary, that is again in the Tamil Nadu. Next is Tawa Reservoir, that is in Madhya Pradesh. This is located inside the Satpura Tiger Reserve. This is important, you should know Tawa Reservoir in the Madhya Pradesh, located inside the Satpura Tiger Reserve and borders the Satpura National Park and the Bori Wildlife Sanctuary. This is constructed at confluence of the Tawa and Denwa River. Here it is given about the wetlands. An area of the land that is saturated with the water. Wetland must meet at least one of 9 criteria, like regularly support 20,000 or more water birds or conserving biological diversity, etc. The significance is, first is the biodiversity hotspot. Wetland covers only 6% of the Earth's surface but supports 40% of the global biodiversity. Next is functions as its kidney of the Earth. An aquatic plants absorbs heavy metals and excess nutrients. Others is nutrient cycling, carbon sequestration. These are the functions of the wetland. I will also like to remind about the Chennai flood. Chennai flood. You may heard about the flood in Chennai came multiple times, like in 2021-23. When the reason was observed, this is largely due to the rapid urbanization. That is true, and of course because of the mainly destruction of the wetlands. Actually, wetlands acts as the natural drainage system. But it was observed, like in Chennai, more than 650 wetlands or water bodies were there in 1980s. But now it is less than 50 wetlands. And that became the main reason for the flood in Chennai. Next is about the Ramsar Convention. Ramsar is the place in Iran. This is an intergovernmental treaty for the conservation and the wise use of the wetland and their resources. It is adopted at Ramsar in 1971. Actually, it was adopted in 2nd Feb 1971. So, 2nd Feb is also observed as World Wetland Day. World Wetland Day, 2nd Feb. This is because of the 2nd Feb 1971 and came into force in 1975. India became a party in 1982. List of wetlands of the international importance or the Ramsar list contains wetlands which hold significant value for the humanity as a whole. Ramsar list, wetlands in the Ramsar list meet at least one of the 9 criteria as it is earlier mentioned. Contracting parties are expected to manage their Ramsar sites to maintain their ecological characteristic. Next, it is important Montreux record. What is Montreux record? Montreux record is actually the register of Ramsar wetlands that are facing ecological threats. Means this is the list which are facing the ecological threats. This may be due to the pollution or human interference or other environmental changes. It actually lists the wetlands of the international importance which is urgently need for the conservation. Like in India, there are 2 which is mentioned. First is the Loktak Lake in Manipur and Keoladev National Park in the Rajasthan. In general, you need to know the basic points also. Tamil Nadu has the maximum Ramsar sites, followed by Uttar Pradesh. First is Tamil Nadu, second is Uttar Pradesh in the number of Ramsar sites. This I already have mentioned. 4 more wetlands have declared Ramsar sites in the India ahead of the World Wetland Day, that is in the 2nd Feb. 2nd Feb is observed as the World Wetlands Day. These 4 sites are Sakara Kotai Bird Sanctuary and Tirthangal Bird Sanctuary in Tamil Nadu, Khechio Palarai Wetland in Sikkim, Udwa Lake in Jharkhand. This marks significant milestone for Sikkim and Jharkhand as they have secured their first ever Ramsar sites. So this point is important. Sikkim and Jharkhand, they got their first Ramsar site. What is in Sikkim? Khechio Palarai wetland in Sikkim and Udwa in Jharkhand. Few other wetlands are mentioned here. First wetland in use. First is Pangong So Lake. This is Endoric Lake. Endoric means this is landlocked. This is the world's highest saltwater lake. 1/3 of the lake lies in India and about 2/3 is already captured by this China. changes color at different times because of the presence of algae. It is not the part of Indus River Basin. This is important, you should know. Next is Kanwar Lake, also known as Kabartal Wetland, a freshwater natural wetland, draws water from the confluence of Gandak, Bia and Kareh River. This is not Gandak, this is actually Budhi Gandak. Budhi Gandak. This question has already been asked, and in that option Gandak was mentioned. This is actually Budhi Gandak. Bihar's first Ramsar site. This is the Bihar first Ramsar site. Next is about the Pulicat Lake, located at the border of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. This is wrong. This is actually Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu. Here it is Pulicat Lake. This place is wrong. Okay, this should be here, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Located at the border of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, second largest brackish water lake in India after the Chilika Lake of Odisha. Sriharikota Island separates the lagoon from the Bay of Bengal. It fed mainly by the rivers Kalangi and Arani. It supports the largest congregation of flamingo. Next is about the Sundarban mangroves, world's largest mangrove ecosystem, named after the species Heritiera forms known as Sundari in Bengali. This Sundari, because of the name Sundarban mangrove, is given. Located on the world's largest delta of the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna river. See this question. This question is asked in UPSC 2019. Consider the following statement. Under the Ramsar Convention, it is mandatory on the part of the Government of India to protect and conserve all the wetlands in the territory of India. The Wetlands Conservation and Management Rule 2010 were framed by the Government of India based on the recommendations of the Ramsar Convention. Third is the Wetlands Conservation and the Management Rule 2010 also encompasses the drainage area or the catchment regions of the wetlands as determined by the authority. You have to choose the correct statement. Under the Ramsar Convention, it is mandatory on the part of the Government of India to protect and conserve all the wetlands in the territory of India. This is wrong statement. So, you can eliminate this and this. Now, we have to consider only a statement 2. A statement 2 says that the Wetland Conservation and Management Rules 2010 were framed by Government of India based on the recommendations of Ramsar Convention. Actually, this statement is wrong. This was not based on the Ramsar Convention. This was done by the Government of India under this MOEFCC for better management of the wetlands. So the answer here will be 3 only. Next topic is other related news. First is United Nations Water Convention Spring Initiative. Actually, this is UN backed network Principle for Responsible Investment, that is PRI, Principles for Responsible Investment, has launched a spring new initiative to halt or reverse natural loss by 2030. It means whatever losses has been done should be reversed by year 2030. How it will be done? This will be done by the investment of large amount of money. This is supported by coalition of 200 investors managing a combined 15 trillion in assets. Objective is to address the systematic risk of nature loss to societies and long-term portfolio value creation by enhancing corporate practices on the forest loss and the land degradation. It is for the restoration. Just need to know the spring, a new initiative, nothing else. Next is shallow aquifer management. It means shallower aquifer will be met. Shallow aquifer management pilot model was recently launched in Telangana. About shallow aquifer management, it is a sustainable urban water management technique. It involves the drilling shallow water borewells to pump out water. It means they will drill and pump out water. Then how this area will be fulfilled by water? This is rainwater harvesting that will do. The underneath layers are recharged during the rainfall, causing the rise in the water table. It is a part of the AMRUT, that is Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Next is National Aquifer Mapping and the Management Program, aims to characterize aquifers, develop plan for the groundwater management. Now let's see terms in news. First is plankton's crash. Here word is given Noctiluca centillions. A type of phytoplanktons turn a red color when a large number experience a crash leading to the release of the color pigments from their cells. Understood? It means cells of the planktons crash that releases some colored pigments. Noctiluca means what? A substance which is bioluminescent, means which shines or glows in dark. These pigments then stick to the rock and the sea floor, forming a biofilm like layer and causing red tides, which is not good thing. Plankton's crashes happens due to the lack of nutrients or the lack of CO2 in the earlier part of the production cycle. Planktons may also die later in the cycle due to the sudden change in the water quality. So understood what happens in this? Actually, planktons crash and releases some liquid which is noctilucent property, and so name noctilucent centellians, which releases red color and forms biofilm like layer, so it is also called red tide. Next is about the gape limitation. Gape limitation is nothing but the size of the mouth. According to this, what is the size of mouth? Larger the mouth size, more bigger the prey can be consumed. So just you need to know the gape limitation word. Whatever it is written, we can see here. This is concept in ecology that refers to physical constraints on the size of the prey that a predator can consume. Means this is the size of the predator mouth in which a prey can be entered. So this is completely, gape is nothing but the size of the mouth, nothing else. You don't need to remember everything. This limitation is primarily determined by the size of the predator's mouth or gape. Here, a small predator can only eat a small prey, while bigger predator can eat the bigger prey. This is the common sense. Smaller the size of the mouth, a smaller prey can be eaten. If the larger is the mouth, more larger prey can be eaten. Importance of the gape limitation. How it is important? It shapes the food web. Of course, it will shape, drives adoption, regulates predator-prey balance, predicts environmental changes, etc. Not important, these points you commonly understand, just know what is the gape limitation, nothing else. Next is megafauna. Megafauna describes animals above the certain weight threshold. Animals above the certain weight threshold, generally above 50 kg. What is megafauna? The animal having more weight than 50 kg. And if it is less than 50 kg, it is called microfauna. Okay. Megafauna may be classified based on their dietary types, that is mega herbivores, which is plant eater, is called mega herbivores, which is mega carnivore, meat eater is called mega carnivore, and which eats both plant and meat is called mega omnivore. The normal term is used here. Anthropogenic pressure on megafauna since late Pleistocene is the current era, have resulted in the dramatic losses, especially in the mega herbivores and mega carnivores. Some extinct megafaunal species include woody mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, giant sloth, etc. Just a simple concept, megafauna, just divided on the basis of weight, nothing else. Next is stromatolites. What is stromatolites? They refer to range of microbial communities that are associated with the layer of rocks. They are partially responsible for great oxygenation event, which changes the composition of our atmosphere by introducing oxygen. As you all know, in our initial atmosphere there was no oxygen, that was mainly composed of methane and carbon dioxide, this type of gases, sulfur dioxide, all these gases were present, and this great oxygenated event were occurred in which some microbes which releases huge amount of the oxygen in the atmosphere. Okay, more details is given about the stromatolites in the next page. Here they are typically relegated to extreme environmental niche, thus are found rarely and are especially scattered across the globe. Recently, first discovery of living shallow marine stromatolites was made in the Middle East near the Red Sea. In this, only you need to know stromatolites. What is this? This is oxygen producing microbes. Next is about the environmental DNA. This is environmental DNA. This is eDNA. E is not for electronic here, small, that is environmental DNA. is the organismal DNA that is released in the environment from the cellular material shed by the organism via skin, excrement, etc. into the aquatic or terrestrial environments. eDNA is increasingly being used to detect presence of species and access biodiversity in the ecosystem. It means we are currently using eDNA more fluently to observe about the species, to know more about the species, its environment, its biodiversity, and everything about the species. Unlike conventional methods, eDNA approach is more reliable and accurate and can be done at the low cost. This information can be used to inform the IUCN Red List of threatened species and the other conservation tools. Like we can use it in the tiger also, counting the number of tiger. This type, in fact, in almost all animals we can use this eDNA technique to know more details and to count their numbers in the forest. Next is speciation. What is actually speciation means? Speciation in simple words means formation of new species. This is nothing but the formation of new species is called speciation. Formation of new species. What it is written? A speciation is lineage splitting event that produces two or more separate species. This process generates biodiversity. What is the modes of speciation? There are four modes are given. First is allopatric. Allopatric is new species formed from the geographical isolation population. If the geographically two lands are isolated and new species are formed, that is called allopatric speciation. Important words are there. These are important words. Peripatric, new species are formed from the small population isolated at the edge of the larger population. Means a small population is isolated from the larger population. Next is parapatric, new species formed from continuous distribution population. New species is formed from continuously distributed population. Next is sympatric. Sympatric is new species formed within the range of ancestral population. It can happen, the sympatric can happen even when the population lives in the same area without geographical barrier. Like the example is also given, like Asiatic lions and Bengal tigers. Generally they don't exist in the same place, but earlier Asiatic lions and Bengal tigers coexisted for the so long as subcontinent due to the sympatric speciation. Means earlier these were the same species from which they are generated. Next is bioluminescence. It is the property of living organism to emit light. It means some species you have seen that emits light, like fireflies is the common. This emits light in night. This is the property called the bioluminescence. Light emitted is produced by energy released from enzyme catalyzed oxidation reaction. What it is written? Light emitted is produced by energy released from enzyme catalyzed oxidation reaction in organism. It requires two unique chemicals. This is luciferin and either luciferase or photoprotein. Actually, two unique chemicals are required. First is luciferins and either this luciferase or photoprotein. It means one will light and other will burn. That's why two are required. Next is a spectral range of light emission of bioluminescence organism spans from blue to red light. Next is a species exhibited bioluminescence are, some examples are given like sponges. Not all sponges, some sponges light. This has already been asked about the fungi, I think. Okay, because which of the following is bioluminescent type they have asked. Some fungi, jellyfish, hatchet fish, worm, sea walnut. Walnut is animal, not this walnut you eat. Fireflies, bacteria, fungi, deep sea shrimps, etc. Functions of bioluminescence: counter illumination, that is camouflage against the predatory animals, etc. Next is factory farming. What is this factory farming? Factory farming refers to system of raising livestock and poultry in high density facilities under the controlled condition to maximize the production efficiency and output of dairy products at lower cost. It is nothing but producing large livestock in a small area What are the different impacts of factory farming? Antibiotic resistant they will become, zoonotic disease can spread, environmental degradation, and health impact will be there. These are the impacts of the factory farming. Next is woody encroachment. What is a woody encroachment? This is encroachment by wood, is called woody encroachment. It is the increase of the tree under shrub cover and then widespread across most ecosystem. It entails the conversion of open habitats to habitats with the greater tree cover or shrub density. Means excess of everything is bad. If there is more wood, then also it will create problem. It results in homogenization of an ecosystem, meaning a diverse multi-layer ecosystem turns into uniform layer of woody plants. Its occurrence in open ecosystem like savanna and grassland reduces the native grassland birth. Next is green water and blue water. Green water refers to moisture in the soil and vegetation. It means the water which is absorbed by the plant. It is the part of hydrological cycle. Green water is absorbed by the roots used by the plants and released back to the atmosphere through the process of transpiration, which is also important. This is written here. It is vital for the generating rainfall, mitigating climate change, etc. This is the green water. Then what is blue water, which is not absorbed by the plant? Is about encompassing surface and groundwater found in lake, rivers, reservoirs. Blue water is recharged by precipitation, so it is not used in plants. Whereas what is green water, which is used in plants. I hope you understood this topic. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you, and in the next part we will start with the organizations and news.